Okay, so we're going to get started here. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. And those who will join us, we greatly appreciate you joining us. And those who will watch later, we appreciate it. I am Carol J. Williams. I'm the founder of I Care Solutions, LLC. Such an amazing organization. And right now we're in the process. We're all about helping individuals in their grief process. And I am so excited to be hosting this conference coming up this coming Saturday, October the 23rd, 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't want to miss this conference. It's Continual Survivors virtual conference entitled Movement is Here. Movement is here in the midst of loss, and you can move. So we're excited. We're excited about the conference. You can go onto the website, icaresolutions.website, and register. And what we've done today, we started this today. Today, you also have other methods where you can pay. So you can use Cash App. You can Cash App your investment of $100. The I, lowercase I, capital C, care, and capital S. Or you can do Zelle by using the email icaresolutions2017@outlook.com. And I will later place the PayPal Pay Me link because I don't know that right off on the top of my head. But so what we want to do in this next few moments, we want to definitely introduce Lois Hall. And I know you all have heard me talk about Lois Hall. Lois Hall is an angel. I appreciate her so much. She was my instructor for the grief recovery method. I'm specialist when I became just the original specialist, and then now I'm an advanced specialist. And she is wonderful. She is very educated, very knowledgeable in helping grieving individuals. And I'm excited that she is going to be with us on Saturday. But I wanted to present her to you all now so that you can get a little taste of what to expect on Saturday, especially for those parents who have children who are grieving. Parents who have children who are grieving. This is going to help you. And remember, we talked about this is an investment in yourself and to become knowledgeable, because oftentimes we experience things, we don't know what we're experiencing. And if you have children, you maybe don't know how to deal with your children. You don't even know what symptoms to look for. So we're going to turn it over to Lois. Lois, introduce yourself a little bit more, and then we're going to just talk for a few minutes.
Excellent. Thank you, my dear. Mwah. From one angel back to another angel. How about that? I hear the flutter of wings. All right. Well, I am Lois Hall. I live in the Columbus, Ohio area, and my career has been in public health. I'm an epidemiologist by training, one of those people who tells you 1 in so many will get cancer, 1 in so many will get AIDS, 1 in so many will get COVID. And when I was working with the Ohio Department of Health, that's when this whole grief thing really kind of came to the forefront for me, because I was working with people with AIDS, and I saw the same kind of overwhelming thing that's going on with COVID, right, when that was new. And so we were doing everything we could to try and make people better, and, public health, we're trying to prevent disease, but nobody was addressing their emotional health. And so that's when I first found the grief recovery method, and I was trained in 1998. I was 12 at the time, 1998. And so I've been doing the grief recovery method in my community for over 20 years now, typically through my church, mostly through my church. But I absolutely just love it. I love it. I have seen lives changed and lives transformed. In 2001, the Grief Recovery Institute asked me if I would come on board and be a trainer for them. And so that's when I started meeting people like the lovely Carol. In 2016, they asked me to come on board and provide support to our specialists all across the country. And so that's what I do now with them, as well as some training also. But I still do the grief recovery program in my community. Now, the second thing that we offer is a program called Helping Children with Loss. And Carol, have you done Helping Children with Loss? Have you personally done one of those yet?
No, but I have the information that I'm supposed to be viewing to make sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna inspire you to start a Helping Children with Loss program, because really the answer to the question that you're asking today and what we'll talk about on Saturday is how do we help our children? The Helping Children with Loss program is not for children. It's for adults. It's for parents, for aunts, uncles, grandparents, adult caregivers. It's for teachers, Sunday school teachers, youth pastors, counselors, coaches, people who work in juvenile justice, even daycare workers, right? Because where do we learn to keep it inside and not talk about it, right? That starts when we're babies. Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. And we learn that very well. So we grow up not knowing how to deal with our emotions because we are taught literally from the very beginning, don't cry. And so Helping Children with Loss is an amazing program. I've done those programs also through my church. It's a wonderful program to help adults learn how to help their children. So what we're going to do on Saturday is just kind of a thumbnail sketch of what to do to help your children. But I would really encourage all of you to find somebody, a grief recovery method specialist in your area. Many of our folks now are starting to do the Helping Children with Loss program. Because you know where the world is these days, there is a lot of grief out there. And our young people are experiencing it, right? It's not just COVID, it's other diseases, it's cancer, it's violence, it's suicide, it's substance use. And so we really need to do better at providing hope for our children. And we, the adults in their lives, we're the ones who need to teach them that. So that's kind of who I am. I love the grief recovery method. I love it, love it, love it. And hope you will as well. And hope you'll contact Miss Carol and find somebody in your community that can get you started through the program.
Yes, and most certainly, we as specialists, we love you, Lois. Most certainly, we love you. We do. So let's start from it. What does grief look like in children? What does grief look like in children?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Well, it's different probably for every child, and it's different for every loss, right? The first thing I think we should talk about is grief is not just death, right? Children especially grieve many things that isn't related to the death of a person. Maybe it's the death of a pet. Maybe it's their dog or their cat or their fish. It could also be a move. You know, children don't get a lot of say in a lot of the things that happen in their lives. Mom and daddy just make the decision, we're moving to a new place. But for that child, that's traumatic because they're leaving the house that they know about, friends, the neighborhood, the school. And so grief isn't just about death. That's the first place I want to start. And so how does grief look in children? It's probably going to be different if they're 3 years old or 10 years old or 15 years old. Right? If they're little ones, toddlers, babies, you know, young ones, they're probably gonna not really talk about it much. They don't have the words, but they may act out, or they may be fussy, or they may not sleep well, or if they're in that potty training stage, they may go back to not being able to go to the potty. They may have bedwetting issues or sleep disturbances. And then when they're a little bit older, and they're in elementary school, perhaps, you know, they might have tummy aches, or they might not eat as well, or they might eat too much, or they might start looking around for other substances. Middle school, right? They might start looking around. They know that mom and daddy use things like alcohol and drugs and marijuana and tobacco, ease their grief. And so in that middle school area, that might be when they start looking to things like that to kind of calm their grief or ease their grief. And those are not good habits to get involved in either. By high school, they're probably pretty much shut down. How was your day, honey? What'd you do today? They won't even talk to us, right? And so they may be silent, they may be withdrawn, or maybe they're going to be the ones who have these violent outbursts. It's different for every child. It's different for the different kinds of losses they experience and how many losses, you know, because again, they don't just experience one thing at a time. We talk in the class about babies being born with a little backpack. And every time a loss happens, it's like it's a little stone or a pebble, and they just put it in the backpack because nobody teaches them what to do with it. And by the time they're in high school, they've probably got a backpack that is so heavy, they just can hardly even carry it anymore. And so it's going to look different for each child. It's going to look different at different ages. It's going to look different depending on the type of the loss. If it was a parent, right, that's probably going to be a little more impactful to them. Than if it was an aunt or an uncle. I don't know. It depends on how close they were to those people. So I would just watch for anything that's kind of different or abnormal, out of character for them. is I guess where I would say those symptoms will be a wide variety of things.
That's good. Thank you so much. Now, how can parents help their children move in the midst of any loss that grieving children are having?
Absolutely. The first thing I would say there is the parents need to be working on their grief. Children are like sponges. They soak up whatever they see and whatever they hear. So if they see mom and daddy being very quiet and not talking about it, or if they see mom and daddy not crying when grandpa has died, right? They're going to take a note from that, and they're going to be the same way. Russell Friedman, the co-author of the book, said he had a call one time. It was from a woman, and she said, my son's father died, and ever since then, he's been having trouble at school. He hasn't been getting his homework done. He comes home, he pretty much goes straight to his room. How do I help my son? And Russell asked her, was your son's father your husband? And she said, well, yes, he was. And he said, well, how are you doing? And she said, well, to be honest with you, I'm having a tough time. She says, I have a hard time focusing, and I'm not doing well at work, and I'm not getting my projects done. And gosh, I get home at the end of the day, I'm just exhausted. And so pretty much I eat a quick supper and go straight to my room. He's just doing what I'm doing, isn't he? And so the first thing I would say for parents is you also need to be aware of your grief and how you're moving through your grief. And many of us have not been taught, even as adults. Right? If I asked you, where did you learn to grieve? From my parents. Where did they learn to grieve? From their parents. Where did they learn to grieve? You see, so we pass this down generationally, this idea that we got to be strong for others, or we got to keep it inside. Don't cry. Don't let them see you cry, especially for our young men, right? Don't want to be a sissy. Don't you cry, boy, or I'll give you something to cry about. And so the parents really need to go first. They need to learn how to share their emotions, how to identify their emotions, first of all. What is it that they're feeling? To identify it, to give it a name, and then to be able to talk about it. And even tell stories. If there's somebody who's died, or if you've moved from one house to another, or whatever the loss is, the adults need to go first in talking about how they're feeling. And then they listen. They just listen to those children. And sometimes the kids won't like really open up and just talk. The two times that people tell me their kids really kind of tend to talk about emotional things, one is in the car. When you're driving somewhere and all of a sudden out of the back seat, they say something that kind of, you think, well, where did that come from, right? And so listen to that. Don't immediately go, well, that's silly, or that's not important, or you shouldn't feel bad about that. Ask them some open-ended questions. Well, what makes you think about that today? What brings that topic up for you? So listen to them. Don't disregard what they're saying. Ask some open-ended questions that will then lead you to what is it they're really thinking about, right? Maybe you drive past an ice cream store and the kid says something about, I don't even like ice cream anymore. Well, where did that come from? What makes you say that, honey? Rather than, well, that's stupid. You always like ice cream, right? Maybe they'll say, well, ever since mom and dad got a divorce, we used to go to the ice cream store together, but I don't get to go anymore. I don't even like ice cream. Oh, sweetie, how can we help you with that? What can we do about that? Let's see if mom and daddy could get together, maybe just to go for ice cream. Even though they're divorced, doesn't mean they might not come back and go for ice cream. Right. And so going first yourself, telling your story, making sure they know that you're dealing with your emotions, and then listen to them. Don't shut them down. Ask them some open-ended questions, and then look to see if there's some solutions, some choices that the child has. Children don't think they have choices. They're just going along for the ride. So the other time in the car is one, but the other is bedtime, especially for younger children. When you're putting your kids to bed, that might be another time that they say something that kind of seems like it comes out of the blue. Another good time to just listen. Tell them how you're feeling. Listen to what they're saying. Don't shut them down. Just kind of ask them some open-ended questions to get them to talk more, and then help them name the feelings. Well, how do you feel when that happens? Do you feel shocked? Do you feel left out? Were you embarrassed? Did you feel abandoned? And again, depending on the age of the child, you're going to use simpler words. Right? But help them identify and name and then give voice to what it is they're feeling. It gets that stuff out of their heart and they feel respected that somebody has heard them. Does that make sense?
That does. That's wonderful. And I think that was really key, because one of the things I often hear is that I'm being strong because I'm being strong for my child. And
Yes, yes,
we hear that all the time. And immediately, it's like we want you to grieve, let the child see you
yes,
express your emotions. So that's very good. So that's
yes, yes.
key.
That be strong thing, I don't even know where that came from. I don't know if I can Google and find out where that started, but it makes no sense, does it? If there's a heavy bucket sitting in the middle of the floor and you're trying to pick it up, Carol, I'm saying, come on, Carol, pick it up, girl. I'm being strong for you. I'm being strong. Pick it up. I'm being strong. I'm being strong for you. That's not even going to work, is it? Just because I'm sitting over here being strong for you, that doesn't help you pick up the heavy bucket. What helps you with that heavy bucket is if I get in there and pick it up with you, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's not being strong, it's being together, right?
That's good.
Well, and we had a couple police officers who were killed in the line of duty here a couple years ago. And you know what the motto was in town? Westerville strong, Westerville strong. Yet along that street, as the funeral processed by, people were in tears. You can't, I don't even know where that whole be strong thing comes from, because it just doesn't make sense, even in real life. So, be in it together. This idea of being strong, it just doesn't even make logical sense. Be in it together. Show them your feelings. Because you know what? It's going to be very confusing, isn't it? If you're the adult parent and it's your father or your mother that's died, and they don't see you crying about that, yet they know how much they loved grandpa. Imagine how confusing that is to the child. Well, I feel like a mess. Why don't you? Right? And so share your feelings. Absolutely. And I know that sounds so easy for me to say because I've been doing it for so long. It's not easy when you haven't done it before. But that's another reason, too. I hope you'll stay in touch, those who are listening and watching. Stay in touch with Carol and other specialists. Take these programs that we offer. The grief recovery method, the helping children with loss, it teaches us, the adults, how to get in touch with our feelings so that we can be a better role model for our children.
That was really good. Very good. I love the whole be strong, to be strong and be strong together. That is,
yep.
Not be strong, but be together.
Be together. Be together. Yep.
That is very good. Now we're going to end, but any other further suggestions that you may offer for parents dealing with grieving children? I want them, most certainly, the key to take is parents, make sure that you understand and deal with your grief and allow yourself to feel what you feel and be okay expressing your emotions in front of your children. Any other suggestions?
Exactly. Well, so two things come to mind. One is that phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. I really believe that. Okay. And so again, for whoever's listening or participating, involve other people too, right? Make sure that your pastor at church knows how to deal with grief. Make sure that the teachers at school or the people at the rec center, the coaches, right? We need to educate the entire community so that our children get consistent messages about grief. So one would be, working with your community, again, together, working within your community. And again, these groups, these programs that Carol and others offer, they are wonderful to be done in community. And so that's the first thing is engage the entire community to help support these children. And the second is, I'm just a mom. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a therapist. I have 3 grown adult children. I have a couple grandchildren. But there are times too when things are outside of my wheelhouse, right? And so if you feel like you just can't do this, or if you suspect that there's something else that your child has some sort of a real, true mental health issue, or they're experiencing a substance use issue, know who the resources are in your community as well. Because there will be times when their grief, well, you're grieving too. Most of the time, if our children are grieving, so are we. And so there will be times when we just can't do it. We just can't do it all. We can do the best we can as parents. We can do as much as we can, but also know who the good referral sources are in your community for both mental health, suicide prevention, substance use, and recovery. Know who those referral sources are in your community in case it's just more than you can handle, more than you can do.
And that was great. And that was great. Thank you so much, Lois. And I'm actually sitting here looking because I want to make sure that I give the correct the correct information regarding what I'm getting. I know it's NAMI. NAMI is great. NAMI is great. It's the National Alliance on Mental Health. And that is great. That is a great resource for you to have. And I'll make sure I put the information link in the feed. And that's a great resource. And that's actually who we actually use for referral on my job to help parents understand more about mental health in children. They help the family. They have resources. They have support groups. And also the Winded Center. The Winded Center. Winded Center is a great resource. They actually have, they specialize dealing with adolescents. And they also even during the summer, I'm not sure if they had it this year or not, or have they had it since COVID, but they also have summer camps as well. Roberta House is another resource as well. So I'll make sure I definitely provide resources, because we want individuals to have resources that you need, because sometimes you need professional help, you know, and it's okay. It's okay to understand that your child needs professional help. And so when you see behaviors that are abnormal, you know, it may not be necessarily that the child needs to be placed in time out. I mean, yes, you know, time out for the behavior. What's going on deeper than the behavior? You know, what is the root of the behavior? What's causing the acting out? What's causing the running away from home? What's causing the substance abuse? So there are deeper issues. And so I definitely appreciate you, Lois, for taking your time out of your busy schedule, joining me today, and want to thank you so much. I want to make sure that you all, please, this is just a little taste of what's going to happen on Saturday. And Lois is a wealth. I mean, she is a wealth of information. And as you see, she's very knowledgeable, and she's not just talking off the top of her head. She has experience in what she does, and she loves teaching, and she really is passionate about what she does. So please log on to our website and make sure that you register for the conference, eyecaresolutions.website. I'll post all this information again. And you want to make sure that you register, and encourage someone else to register. So what we've done now, we made additional ways of payment. You can Cash App me, you can use Zelle. My Cash App is lowercase I, capital C, care, and then capital S. And then you also can do Zelle using my email, eyecaresolutions2017 at outlook.com. I'll place the PayPal me link as well. And also, you can definitely use the link and use the credit card for the registration. It's important that if you're using the Cash App and Zelle and PayPal me, that you please provide your email address, your name and email address, so that we can send you the Zoom link, This, again, is about all investing in yourself, and so that you can understand that movement is definitely possible in the midst of loss, and it's here. And you don't have to experience a place where you're stuck. And loss is not, no matter what the loss is, it's not the end of your story, but it's imperative to do what's necessary to allow movement to happen, and understand that movement does not have to be anything big. It can be small, but understand it's here. And it's just a matter of us embracing it and using the tools and resources that we have to move in the midst of loss. One more plug. Be sure also purchase my latest book. It's out. Yes, it's out. Moving and Being Productive in the Midst of Loss. Make sure you check us out with the book. We'll do a reading, just trying to get through the conference. We're going to do a little more advertising shortly. Want to get through the conference. After Saturday, you definitely will see more and more about the book, but we've already started to get a review on we already got a review on the book. And even tomorrow, there's something going on with the book, but we'll talk about that a little later. But I just know that this book is moving, and I am just so appreciative. And those who know me know I'm going to say this, I am appreciative of all that the Lord is doing in my world and with Eye Care Solutions. I appreciate you, Lois, again. Thank you for being such an awesome instructor. And you all, thank you all who's listening and who's watching on Facebook. I apologize that I didn't look at my phone, but I will definitely reach out to you all who have posted or said anything or comments or questions. I will reach out to you. And you all have a fantastic and amazing day. And be sure to do it on purpose. Share this with someone. because maybe someone, we hope you're coming to the conferences. We want you to come to the conference, but this is still a great resource to have in your library and to share with caregivers. We've already started it. And eventually we are going to get to the point where Carol will be offering, at some point, we're going to be offering the program as well. But in the meantime, I definitely can refer you to individuals who will be able to offer the program to helping children with loss. You have a fantastic and amazing day.